What's going on, everyone? I just finished collecting every single journal that there is here to find in Palworld. If you're worried about this journal here, we'll get to that in just a little bit. But for Day XX, Castaway's Journal Day XX. This world harbors a secret. I was convinced of this when I began re-examining the globe's geographical features from my research toward the end of last year. Looking over the islands of the world, I noticed something strange. It felt like a certain area was empty, so to speak. I knew there should have been something there. It was unbelievable to me how no one could have noticed such an obvious absence in this location. With a few months of preparation, I was successfully able to guess the location of an island based on my hypothesis. With conviction in my heart, I chartered a boat and set out for the island alone. Strangely enough, the island is shrouded in a thick fog that makes discerning it from the sea impossible. Attempting to stay away from the fog, I turned rudder, only to be enveloped by an even deeper fog. Just then, someone attacked me. I have no idea where the attack came from, but my boat was all but destroyed. With nothing but wreckage left, I was still somehow able to make it to the coast. This island exists in no database. It is an island hidden from the world. Why is it being hidden? Why is it on any maps? I'm certain this is all intentional. Was an attack on my vessel part of this attempt at complete concealment? There are more mysteries than I can count, but I am resolved to discover all of this island's secrets. I found a strange device on the shore. It appears to be some kind of electrical contraption, but its odd design looks like no modern technology I've ever seen. The device is capable of recording images and displaying information about what is shown in them. I have decided to take photographs of the island using this device and use them along with this journal to document what I find. Soon after stepping foot on the island, I discovered a living creature nearby. Not only that, but every living thing I found here is like nothing I've ever seen. On the other hand, normal creatures you might find on any other island seem to be almost entirely absent. It seems this island has quite a unique ecosystem. I now know that its absence on any map is not only the special feature of this place. I've decided to use the device I found to record various species I encounter. As I explored around on foot, I found a spear that emits a peculiar blue light. I threw it without much thought, and the creature it landed near transformed into what seemed to be light, as though the spear had absorbed it. Unbelievably, when I tried throwing the same spear again, the creature reappeared from the light and stared at me with what seemed to be like an amicable expression. As I began to create a shelter to protect me from the elements, the creature astonishingly began to help me. How useful. Wanting to deepen my connection with this living thing, I decided to name its kind Pals. To match, I christened this land Palpagos Islands. I discovered what appears to be an ancient ruin while exploring the island. Did humans once live here? Finding some kind of murals on the wall, I deciphered the symbols and found that it was none other than instructions on how to make this strange spear from above, using paldium, the name I have given the blue ore found throughout the island. As a catalyst, it is possible to transform mere wood and stone into one of these spears. I must record this method of production on my device. There happened to be a weakened pal near me, unable to move. Rolling a spear towards it, I was able to capture another pal. There's something odd that bothered me since I arrived here. Far off in the distance, I can see what looks like an enormous tree, big enough to be the so-called world tree, spoken about in so many myths. Still, it's so large that no amount of fog would be enough to obscure it from the view from outside the island. The only hypothesis I can come up with is that something other than the fog enveloping this island prevents it from being seen by the outside world. In other words, some kind of mechanism must be preventing it from being seen from the outside. It seems likely that the mysterious powers these spells have something to do with them. I caught sight of a pal riding on the back of a deer-like pal. Thinking it was a great opportunity to try something new, I tried attaching a saddle to a similar pal and riding it. It went better than expected. The pal is quite easy to ride. This will surely expand the area I can explore around the island. Today I decided to take my pals on a bit of an excursion. A tower-like object visible in the distance had piqued my curiosity. After walking a while, I encountered another human. When I tried to talk to them, however, they didn't say a word and just pointed a gun at me. Since they're on this island, it would make sense to consider them a remnant of the ancient civilization, but their attire suggests they're likely from the same era as I am. Are they just like me, from the outside? Or has this ancient civilization developed here of its own accord? I was in a rough spot, but my sheep pal protected me, allowing me to escape unscathed. I immediately returned to my base of operations and found that my pals were safe. There's still so much to learn about this island. I had no choice but to run away yesterday, but I can't stop thinking about that tower. Just as I decided to fashion some gear to try approaching it again, I heard the sound of gunfire behind me. The person from yesterday is after me. I couldn't sit by and do nothing. I mobilized all my pals for a counterattack before I knew it. They got carried away and killed the assailant. It's not like I killed anyone directly. There's no one to blame here. And little did they know that the pals continue to kill everything that they have in their sight. As I approached the tower for the second time, I once again heard the sound of gunfire. It seems there are groups that have banded together and are now fighting for territory. I believe they're mostly using pals to fight this battle. This place isn't safe. I need to be stealthy if I'm to wander around here. While taking a breather, I tried to figure out who those people were again, but to no avail. If they're from the outside like I am, it would seem strange that such a large group would have information about leaving the island. I only came to the conclusion that they're remnants of the ancient civilization here, fighting for survival. I can't fathom why or how they have guns, but it seems only natural that they have created their weapons themselves. That, or it's possible they're imitating things that have drifted onto shore for whatever reason. After a long journey, I finally managed to arrive at the tower. I am nearly certain it's a relic from the ancient civilization. However, I have no guesses as to why it was built. Still, I can feel that there's an energy flowing throughout the place, similar to that of Paldium ore. When I touched an inscribed stone slab, I found myself transported to some strange place. What I found there was an enormous pal and a human control of it. I ran away in terror, and before I knew it, I found myself returned near the tower. I worked out that the ancients must have lived in luxury alongside pals, yet due to some unknown reason, that way of life was lost. Perhaps it was a massive natural disaster, or maybe a struggle broke out for scarce pals and resources. Then again, maybe it has something to do with the teleportation I experienced in the tower. Supposing that some power is responsible for that spatial teleportation, perhaps similar to how the pal spears work, what would happen if the power were utilized in other ways? A power so great that humans could not control it. Perhaps that is what destroyed the civilization on this island. I had tried to avoid thinking about it, but the foodstuffs I brought along are all but gone, and I'm sick and tired of eating berries. I did happen to find a pal eating the flesh of another pal. It looked so delicious. I can't say I was proud to think as much, but sometimes sacrifices are necessary. I captured a white bird pal, skinned it, and fried it up for dinner. It was delicious. The sensation of eating meat was enough to make tears run down my face. Whether in killing fellow men or pals, this island has a way of making one forget about their ethics. I decided to distance myself from the tower and have begun to explore other areas. There are places in each area that happen to be vast caverns. They appear to have traces of human involvement, and ore can be found throughout them. Could someone have used pals to dig those holes? I can't help but feel overwhelmed by all the mysteries I'm unable to solve. But my pals have come with me for no matter where I go. As long as I have food to give them, that is. What on earth was that huge pal? I was walking along an open field when I encountered a massive pal, the likes of which I've never seen before. I fled in surprise, but if I were to befriend a pal like that, I'd have nothing to fear on this island. The existence of a pal of that size is sure to prove that pals don't follow the laws of nature as we understand them. Perhaps the pal's source of energy doesn't come from food or photosynthesis alone, but some other kind of energy. The power I encountered in that tower may also have been utilizing the same energy source, but through human hands. After living alongside pals for some time now, I've come to realize they don't breed like normal animals. All it takes is the presence of a male and a female pair with some time, an egg simply appears. Furthermore, it seems that the bodies of dead pals simply vanish. Where do pals come from, and where do they go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? These mysteries have no end in sight. Utilizing an inscription I found in some ruins, I managed to compress the size of pal spears even further, developing a method for remotely moving pals. I can now also teleport the spears themselves. This has made organizing and managing my pals much easier. It isn't hard to imagine that the ancients must have also moved and managed a large number of pals simultaneously. It's been a month since I arrived on Palpagos Island. I've grown quite used to living here. Lately I've set pals to work making me weapons and preparing equipment. A few pals seem to have taken an interest in guns, so I've devised weapon designs for their use. Some are quite adept at handling the weapons. I'm sure they'll all be the more reliable in the coming battles. I made a mistake. On what was supposed to be a short excursion, a group of dangerous nocturnal pals attacked me and I was injured. Why are the pals who live on this island so aggressive? I can't help but feel their attacks are well beyond the ferocity necessary for self-preservation. Humans, for example, will engage in bloody war at the behest of a leader. Similarly, the pals living here seem like they are fighting for the very island itself. I suspect they harbor some deep, instinctual drive to protect this place. Having now journeyed far from where I first drifted ashore, I have come across a massive statue in the shape of a pal. Ah yes, Deshugan. I am nearly certain it is a legacy of the ancient civilization, but why would humans build a statue such as this? Everything I found thus far has suggested that pals lived alongside these ancients as equals, but constructing a monument like this must mean some were also objects of worship. Perhaps there are certain pals out there that have a special significance both to people and to pals. That is the final journal entry of the castaway. Zoe Ring, the first tower leader, and her 5 journals actually. I don't have a family. My father disappeared a long time ago, and I've never seen my mother's face. The only ones who raised me are those guys in Grisbolt. That's why I know I have no choice but to survive in this tiny little world. Those guys all chase around pals with their guns. They capture the ones they hurt and sell them to these other weird guys. In return, they get food. They even share it with me. That's why I don't have to be hungry. I don't think any of those guys really care about me. They just keep me alive because I'm the daughter of one of their bosses. I still believe that, even if I'm a boss now, too. Grisbolt was one of the pals they were going to sell. But she looked so lonely in her cage, she was just like me and father, I thought. I was still little back then, so I couldn't control myself. I waited until everybody was sleeping, opened Grisbolt's cage, and ran off far away with her. I shared half a slice of breakfast toast with her, but we were both hungry by evening and went back to the base. Of course, all the guys were super angry. They threw me in the cage with Grisbolt, and I thought we were gonna get taken away. But Grisbolt protected me. Not even their guns or bats could beat her. How did she get captured in the first place if she's that strong? I bet she didn't even try to escape the big dummy. I gave Grisbolt a command, and she called down a huge bolt of lightning that wiped out all the guys. They didn't wake up until the next morning. Ever since then, I've been with Grisbolt. There's a group that opposes ours, stationed a little ways away from here where we live. They don't like the way we sell pals and use weapons. Our group sneers at them and calls them the Free Pal Alliance. We're always fighting with them for no reason at all. If I stop to think about it, I bet they're not bad people if they love pals that much. I asked one of the guys who's been around a long time about it, but he said it was complicated. Apparently our group has been around for a long time, and we've always been fighting with those FBA guys. He said he doesn't know the real reason behind it, but we've been fighting so long that there's no hope of ever getting along. You know how many times I've stumbled upon these guys fighting themselves and pals? Like, not sorry, they're either bugged or they're just a bunch of hypocrites, which would make sense as to why Hypocrite Hill exists. Ah yes, the shores. Sometimes I wonder if there's anything beyond the sea. The only thing I can see far off in the distance is that huge tree. I've never heard anyone talk about what's beyond that place. Apparently some brave guy from long ago went to see the outside world, but he never came back. I have heard about people coming from beyond the sea though. I don't know what those kinds of people do, but they say they use tools different from our own. And that's why I know there must be something beyond the sea. A whole bunch of islands, a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of things. It sounds scary, but I'd like to try going sometime. I've started to wonder, why am I guarding this big tower again? I always thought it was obvious that since father also used to do this, but now I think about it, I have no idea why. From what I've heard about it, they say there's a legend passed down on this island. They said that this tower is somehow related to that legend, and that is some big great power. What kind of power, I wonder? Even if it's true, why does this power have to be protected? Anyway, even though I don't really know why, I'm always here protecting this tower. There are other towers around the island, and they say people like me guard them all. Great. Still no answers about the tower or how to get to the tree. Now we're on to Lily Everhart's diaries, the second tower boss. Pals, such strange creatures. These noble beings have upheld our civilization since ancient times. They not only boast impressive intellect, reflexes, and adaptability, but are adorable to look at as well. How could anyone not come to love them? Humans are savage animals. With an insatiable appetite for the proliferation of their own kind, they subjugate other species and enslave them. They engage in pointless strife, consume flesh for no reason, and develop beyond their needs. When one takes into account their hideous appearance, how could anyone not detest them? Humans capture pals and use them. If a pal is confined to a so-called pal sphere, they become obedient to their master. What abhorrent tools they become. One can only say this is the greatest stain in the history of our civilization. Pals and humans were originally meant to live alongside each other in mutual support, not a relationship between master and servant, but one of equals, a harmonious coexistence, if you will. Eating a pal for food is akin to blasphemy against God. Oh. Shit. I've eaten so many of them. I will recount the day I met Lylene. I remember that the fog was so thick that the day that I could scarcely see in front of my very own eyes. I was simply walking alongside the berry fields, as I am fond of doing. When I heard the clamorous voices of those abhorrent poachers, when I looked down where I could hear the sound of their filthy screams, I saw them throwing spears at a pal resembling a vivid lily flower. She was so beautiful and elegant, at that moment, I knew what I must do. I pierced their dirty hearts through the back and destroyed their scattered spears. They shot at me a few times, but it was a trivial matter. I could not touch such a beautiful flower with my trembling, blood-stained hands. Instead, I returned immediately to my base. When I arrived, I found the Queen of the Lilies there, awaiting me. When she touched my arm, my wounds were healed and the fatigue began to fade away. From that day forward, I decided to become companions with my queen. She is the only flower that blooms in this sad, dark world. Well, they made her a statue, so. Why won't you join the Free Pal Alliance? The Free Pal Alliance is a long-standing organization that works to protect pals. We have lived together with pals since antiquity. Each of us has a deep love for the wondrous creatures. We have 5 traditional commandments. Thou must not eat pals. Thou must not overwork pals. Thou must not abuse pals. Thou must not use pals for experiments. Thou must risk thy life to protect pals. Wouldn't you like to join us and protect the pals you love? Your life in service of protecting pals is a small price to pay. The flesh and blood of humans exist only for the glory of pals. On some distant shore of the island, there exists an islet where certain pals live. Not a single one of their kind, strange as it may seem, resides on the main island. Perhaps they can only flourish in a particular kind of environment, or their natural predators roam the main island. Then again, perhaps they are simply unable to cross the sea. I do not know the reason they exist there, but I am certain that they must be protected. Just imagining those poachers setting up a hideout there and ruining their way of life is enough to make my blood seethe. With every visitor from the outside of their island, the pals' numbers dwindle. At this rate, they may even go extinct. I would like nothing more for us to protect them, but we have our hands full guarding this forest. As loath as I am to ask for help, I have petitioned the PIDF, the Galapagos Island Defense Force, to assist with their protection. In return, we must pay them a hefty sum, but it is worth it if it means protecting the lives of precious pals. It seems my subordinates have found a way to generate revenue. I will set aside those funds for this endeavor. It seems odd that they would be able to gather such large sums only through raids on the poachers' camps, though. The corrupt cops, right? Yeah, the corrupt cops. What a joke. All the idiots do around here snort up stims. It's a real dump. There's no point in even trying to control it. PIDF doesn't belong in a place like this. The guys I arrested today couldn't even pay the fine. Guess it's to be expected if they spend all their money getting a fix. Bet they can't even imagine the money they pay ends up lining my pocket. I make a profit when they buy, and then I make more when I arrest them for possession. Holy shit, I knew they were corrupt, but damn. It's like our own government in the States. And I even get back my product to sell again when I confiscate what they have. It's a grand scheme. They're idiots, and I'm a genius. This is just their punishment for being fools, understand? This island is just my little sandbox to play on. For all I care, they can live their little sad lives without ever knowing I'm the one supplying their fix and the one controlling it. If I let them get carried away, they'll just go off demanding rights. They ain't fit for garbage like that. Well, shit. Life out here is not all peace and quiet. The damn wind blows and somehow somebody's cutting into my profits. Just today, some punk little syndicate clown who thinks he's smart tried selling stims without my permission. My partner Phalaris is always there to deal with dumb bottom feeders like that. Just like me, he's having fun playing in this little sandbox. Or maybe he just likes eating the white. He likes eating the white stuff. Huh? Don't look at me like that. Ain't no food today, boy. Who eats some of that white sand? Got it. Another peaceful day on the island. More proof we're having fun playing house, right, Phalaris? Don't worry, I get it. You've got the same eyes as me. You're having fun playing house too, yeah? Or maybe you're just waiting for me to fall over dead. You sure do like eating that white stuff, huh? Maybe the day'll come when I'm just leftovers stuck to your wings. Maybe not. Either way, let's just watch each other's backs until then, right, partner? Man, Marcus is pretty fucking twisted. I knew that the police force was corrupt, just from the simple fact the way he threw money around out of his coat when he went to the boss fight, but geez. Victor Ashford, I imagine, is the last tower boss? No, we don't get one from the guy on the volcano. Anywho, Victor Ashford, I believe, is the blindfolded guy in the last tower. Results: failure. Attempted to combine various four-legged and winged pals, but no successful patterns emerged. Some combinations succeeded in creating bodies, but these deteriorated in seconds and all were disposed of. Impressions. Reconsideration of chemicals for response control is unnecessary. Furthermore, the expansion of species to inspect is also likely unnecessary. Will we consider extracting chemicals from ichthyodeer antlers to create a compound? Storage temperatures also will require reconsideration. Note: require one ice pal for culinary purposes. Re-examination of base DNA information for the species under consideration is desirable. Analysis of PAL DNA information is pressing but requires new equipment. However, the current equipment was coincidentally acquired from outside. There are limits to how far it can be improved. This will require self-made blueprints to create equipment from scratch. You know what's crazy? Now that I think about it, quick tangent. If we come over here, he's trying to combine two species. And born from the depths of insanity, his very existence should not be. Having lost all genetic ties to other pals, one wonders if it could even be considered a pal. I wonder if this Shadowbeak is the result of a Frostalian knocked and something else. Maybe even like a Phalaris or something. I don't know, but it was probably a genetically spliced entity. Anywho. Ooh, maybe we'll get our answer. On the distillation and administration of PALs to the same species. Result: success. A certain species of PAL was dissolved in liquid and concentrated via distillation. Subsequently, the concentrated liquid was administered to PAL of the same species. As expected, the results yielded an enhancement in abilities of the administered PAL. Yeah. That's the tube you kind of shove everybody into, and then you get a stronger PAL. You get the 1 or 2 star rating up to 4. Impressions. This experiment initiated as an alternative approach towards generating powerful PALs. Surprisingly yielded favorable outcomes. Theories postulated that PALs of a certain species contain the nutrients most necessary for the same type of PAL seemed valid. This experiment has accordingly resulted in the enhancement of the test PAL's ability. However, there remains a slight doubt regarding whether the observed enhancement surpasses the anticipated values. Perhaps it is not merely a matter of basic nutrients, but rather we must question whether PALs inherently possess a distinct energy source essential for their own existence. Further investigation is required. Oh, buddy. Yeah, that was right, the tube. On interspecies PAL experiments 2. Success. Only one specimen emerged, an artificially created new species with 4 legs and wings. It was promptly transferred to the cultivation equipment and has since shown promising progress, steadily maturing. Attempts to reproduce the same process failed. Thus, this miraculous success is attributed to some unknown external factor. Impressions. The success of the experiment is genuinely gratifying. The new species named Shadowbeak, okay, so yeah, I was right, will continue to be observed closely for further developments. However, the lack of reproducibility of the procedure poses a significant challenge. Henceforth, the plan is to proceed with the experiment, incorporating slight adjustments based on this procedure. Addendum. Disappearance of Alex, who served as a lab assistant, is concerning. And what do you know it? We have one journal from Alex. And Alex, yeah, he used to be a lab assistant, and then he retreated to the volcano. Okay. Every day I'm snoring, but no rivals got me going. I don't care about they type. Ain't nobody gonna beat my hype. I'm looking for a fight, a real tough brother from another mother. Throwing in the towel ain't gonna cut it. It's gonna be a knockout. Throw down, brawl out. So fast your eyes will bleed. When we're ready for the battle, you better believe the shock's gonna rock your socks off. Saw it off. My lightning is tougher than high kings. When it hits the ring, ain't nobody gonna be singing for you, playa. You ready for this hype? You read the words, so get ready for the fight. Interesting. But to finish this off, just wanted to let you guys know the reason why there is no journal here. This is journal entry number 5. And I decided to look it up, and not one single person or guide on the internet has found this journal. So it's a possibility that it contains information that we are not yet supposed to know, or it got accidentally cut and it will get placed back into the game eventually. But for right now, as far as everything is concerned, unless you guys can prove me wrong, I'd love to be proven wrong, journal entry 5 does not exist. And as far as my speculations go about everything, it seems as though that there is some sort of hidden power or hidden something locked away at the tree. Everybody keeps hinting to why they have their towers being protected, as well as a hidden energy source from the castaway, as well as from other, scientists and beings protecting the towers. There also seems to be a legend tied to the whole situation that wasn't speculated upon as well. However, whatever it is, I do believe is hidden at the tree. I can't attempt to go to the tree, or at least I can't attempt it, but I'm not allowed to go to the tree because of a barrier that is red tinted that literally is probably like a good 3-second flight away, or maybe even like a 10-second swim away from the shore. Unfortunately, it's something that they'll probably add it in a little bit, and it's not already in the game. But as far as it stands, you can actually go really close to it and see the shore. You can see the rock outline. You can get pretty darn close. But as far as getting to the tree, I haven't been able to find a way to get into that yet. I did complete all of the towers as well as the PAL deck, hoping that maybe that it would unlock something, maybe give me some sort of clue to where else to go. But it doesn't seem to be the case as it currently stands. So for right now, all I've been doing is trying to farm up breeding partners for PALs, as well as getting legendary equipment, so that way whenever anything comes out, I'm ready to go for it. It's unfortunate that we didn't get to finish the last little bit of the castaway journals though. I don't know if he sadly died or if he's still on the island somewhere. It would be my guess that he's still there, considering the fact that he said that there's no way to leave the island once you're on it, except for the way that maybe the ancients or other groups know of doing it. It would seem that there is a case that you can leave the island, because I don't know how else money would flow in, considering that there are black market merchants. Maybe that too is also connected to the tree, or there's some sort of portal, as they were referencing with the PAL balls, considering you could use it as a teleportation or a storage device. Maybe that all of that will be tied together more soon, more recently than whatever I'm trying to say. They'll come out with more stuff eventually, so that way it makes more sense. But as it currently stands, it's all just speculation as to what could be. And there's also here the legendaries that seem to be capable of dealing with different sorts, or not different sorts, but dealing with a calamity in sorts of ways that all are unique to them. As is with the Pegasus, you could sit there and turn around and cast it into eternal winter, which would make sense as to why the northern island is completely cold. There is the celestial dragon, there is the Noct, and as well as the two Necromus and Palladius duo. Not really having an answer as to what's going on with them, but we did get an answer to how Shadowbeak came to an existence. However, it's not really explained how Victor was only able to make one, but suddenly were able to catch a whole bunch on that one wildlife preserve and even breed it. But maybe in time, again, all these answers will come out eventually, but right now there are a couple plot holes that just aren't making sense or adding up. In addition, it would also doesn't make sense is how we have quote unquote killed the tower bosses, but they keep respawning and they'll keep coming back over and over again, let alone the legendaries. Considering they are legendary, there should only be one, but obviously there's not. So again, time will tell with all these things, and that's just my speculation as things stand as it is right now. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'd love to hear your theories, what you think about the game, and its lore so far, and what might be. But if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, giving it a thumbs up. That'd be great. It helps me out a bunch. My dog Doja appreciates it a bunch. And yeah, if you're already subscribed, consider watching another video. I have plenty of genres on the channel. I have some other world building stuff. If you like survivals like this, I do have Minecraft that I have been working on slowly but surely, and Palworld kind of took a front seat for a while. But as this is coming to a close, I will probably finish off Minecraft, and I've also considered going back and just playing something completely different for a while. And until next time, take it easy, and peace.